switch to the man. Is that like a high school?
Why aren't you allowed to bet half?
With precaution.
Yeah. Yep.
You can bet on the sports without NCAA championships, like
Gotcha.
like horse racing and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have those. Only because they're not.
And then NCAA gets really big in the equestrian. You're like, oh no.
Because horses can't take classes.
Yep.
Do you think this will last the match?
Well, I hope so. I'm not really going to be paying attention to the battery life. We'll see.
Oh, do you guys get a charger? Oh,
Yeah, I assume it'll be fine. I'll give you a hint. I'm not going to look over once. I'm just going to keep talking. I'm going to be watching some volleyball and just rambling. And here comes the serve. Nice one, idiot. I'll have to remember not to swear. That's a big one for me. Yeah. I think if I swear 3 times, then Lloyd Ball just drives to my house. I think that's how that works.
What?
I said if I swear 3 times on the broadcast, I think I just summon Lloyd Ball to my house. He's going to yell at me. Or Vince, more likely. Vince.
It's live.
It's live?
It is just recording you.
It's just recording me?
So it is live. Split it here.
Mhm.
You want a chair?
Chair would be great.
So the other thing too is here's this.
And that is
Extra mic.
ah.
You're live, by the way. You're on. You're live. You're live.
Yep. And that will end the warm-up period. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Adrian College in Adrian, Michigan. It's a beautiful day for volleyball. Up next, we have Team MICA versus the Michigan Tempo. MICA is a newer team formed at the end of last year as a sister team to Midwest MAC. Michigan Tempo is a rebrand of the Huron River Hitmen from last year. Got some new administrative guys, got some new players. Currently Tier 3, but are really trying to make that Tier 2 push into next season. MICA is also trying to lay out the groundwork for a future. Not quite making that push yet, but with some of these guys coming in, hopefully they'll be able to make that push coming into next season. For those of you that do not know the VLA format, all matches are best of 5. Each set is to 25 points. And with this event specifically, the winner will get a singular VLA point. That point accumulates over multiple seasons in a bid to try and become Tier 1. Currently in this region, I believe the mark is 150 VLA points, or in the big cups, 3 total VLA Cup events, whether that be a regional cup like the Central Cup or East Cup, the big VLA Cup, which will be coming up here in a few weeks in Aurora, Illinois, or the VLA Championships, which will happen at the end of the year. I believe May 31st and June 1st. 1 point may not seem like a lot when compared to 150, but this is year upon year, season upon season. These players are grinding out points, trying to slowly climb their way up the ladder, get better rankings for the bigger events, chip away so that whenever they play the bigger events, they can get 3 or even 4 points for those matches. But again, for this smaller event, just 1 point for the winner, whether it be 3 sets, 4 sets, or 5. Handshakes coming across, and we will get underway here in just about a minute. Starting lineup for Tempo, we will have Garrett Anderson, number 26 in the middle, along with Tanner Barnard, number 13. We have libero Mikey Wyant, number 4 in the orange jersey there. For setter, we will likely have Matt Adams at number 8, if I remember correctly. And then for the pins, you will have Clark Jocelyn, Dylan Highshatter, and Urvil Patel. On the MICA side, we have Marcus Steele, number 11, as your starting setter. Jose Soto, number 14, as a libero. We have Jalen Adams lined up next to him as OH2. We have Chase Hoyer, number 20, as OH1. He's currently front middle. In the middle, we have Tom Davidson, number 13. And as a right side, we have Drew Garish, number 1. Tempo scores first. Matt Adams back to serve. Top spin handled well in system. Set a little bit inside. Handle to the deep corner goes out of bounds off of Drew Garish. Tempo with a strong start, their first match of the day. MICA, already playing today, was swept by Midwest Mac 3-0. Matt Adams with a brilliant serve to the back corner. Matt Adams, a more analytical player, uses his jump serve more as a precision technique rather than raw power like you see a lot of other guys in the VLA. He can usually pinpoint that serve pretty well as he rips one down the line, decently in system. Low set from Marcus Steele forces Tom Davidson into the net, and a strong 4-0 start for Michigan Tempo. Matt Adams switching sides to serve, now lining up on the left as opposed to the right. Nice serve, middle of the court, beautifully in system. Triple block off of Chase Hoyer. I believe the contact went off of the starting middle there, Tanner Barnard, with Clark Jocelyn and Dylan Heischetter also there to help. Float serve, switching it up. Pass a little off the net, set inside. Good handle. Out of system swing. And a little bit of a missed contact on the right side there by Clark Jocelyn. Nice coverage by Jose Soto to get over to the line to make sure that he squirted the ball out. Marcus Steele back to serve. Marcus Steele using a hybrid serve, meaning that off contact it can be topspin or a float. Goes a little bit more of a topspin on that one into the top of the tape. That will bring on Dylan Heischetter for Michigan Tempo at the line, rotating Urvil Patel over to the front. Another hybrid serve. This one is in. Drew Garish, the lefty. Beautifully dug by Tempo. Urvil Patel's first swing from the outside, just missing hands, falling out of bounds. Nice little rally early here as Chase Hoyer goes back to the line. Took a little bit off just for the sake of good contact. A nice little run to the right side by Clark Jocelyn is able to fit it right in between the block of Tom Davidson and number 18, Jalen Adams. Tanner Barnard back to serve. You will notice that no liberos will be serving today. For those of you who don't know, liberos are not allowed to serve in the VLA, as a short float serve by Tanner Barnard scores the ace. With an early score of 8-2, looks like Tempo's warmed up and ready to fire. Mike is still trying to find the rhythm and serve receive. Barnard trying to put a little extra spice onto that serve into the top of the tape. A good little one and done to extend the Tempo lead. Tom Davidson back to serve. A heavy floater for the 6'10". With his reach, he can basically just swing down while standing. Decides to do a nice little blooper into the back corner. In system, nice touch block by Jalen Adams, but unfortunately the dig could not keep the ball remaining. 9-3 to Tempo. Center rotating front row, back to service Clark Jocelyn. Float serve, short. Very aggressive early with these float serves, as much of them are trying to just skip right across the tape. I would like to see a little bit more of a conservative effort on the first one. Nice short serve by Drew Garish. Pipe blocked there in the middle by Mitch Hoffman. And a very smart tool on the outside by Urvil Patel off of the block of Marcus Steele. Becoming more popular in recent years, that jam where instead of swinging or trying to do it with one hand, just taking both hands and swiping it off of the outside hand of that outside blocker. Jump serve into the tape for Urvil Patel. Jalen Adams back to serve. Nice little float. Out of system. Hit nicely by the setter. Rocketed out of bounds by Clark Jocelyn. Set wasn't exactly located. Clark just tried to force that kill a little bit. Can't fault him. You'd expect later in the match, once everyone is warm and firing on all cylinders, that ball's probably going to go right into the back corner. A little bit of scrappy point coming. Second attempt by Chase Hoyer. Off the block, off the middle back defender, and a nice kill from MICA as they are closing this gap. Slow start, being down 6 points early, is now cut to 3. As this game is going on, the passings get a little bit cleaner, the settings get a little bit more spot on. Deep serve for Jalen. Connection out of the middle, miss a little bit, tiny bit of a paintbrush. Outside handled by Chase Hoyer. Beautiful cross shot by Dylan Heischetter. But the kill is negated by a net violation on the side of MICA. For those of you keeping stats at home, go ahead and give him the kill anyway. Grant Anderson at the line. Ooh. Trying to run the middle to the opposite side, get a little bit of a different look. Blocked by the combination of, looks to be Dylan Heischetter and Tanner Barnard for the tempo side. MICA passes in system. Line shot. Great swing by Chase Hoyer going off of the outside hand of Matt Adams. And off the hand, hits the antenna. Point MICA. Mitch Hoffman back to serve. He'll be floating, but he likes to put a little bit of extra tempo on it. Very much a high-risk, high-reward form of the float. Unfortunately, not working out there. Back to tempo serve, and we are around the horn once again to Matt Adams. He went on a nice little run early. Let's see if he can do something similar this time around. Very aggressive on that first attempt. A little unlike what he was doing earlier, but, I like the decision to go a little bit more aggressive as the game is ramping up. Boy, MICA Steele now with his hybrid. Similar to his one earlier, results in the point for tempo, which will bring Dylan Heischetter to the line. A good deep jump serve. Mishandled by the libero Jose Soto, which will become an ace point for tempo as they extend their lead to 6. Going at him again with a little help from the tape. Another ace serve for Dylan Heischetter. And that will result in a timeout for MICA so they can collect themselves for the second half of this set. Slow start, starting off around 8-2. They had this slow climb back there at a score of 7-10. And as they're losing it now back 9-16, it really is coming down to one, serve receive, giving your offense a few more chances and options to side out a little bit earlier. And then also, once you get those points back, focusing on that serve. Making sure that if the guy before you misses, that the guy behind him is at least getting it in the court, making it a little bit competitive, making sure that you are not just giving tempo the option between a 3-option ball and serving straight into the net. We'll see if they can make those adjustments for this set, and, if not necessarily in this set, for the match later down the road. Once again, Dylan Heischetter coming off of 2 aces. Let's see if we can get a coach's point here. goes the safe route. Goes to a little bit more of a float out of the timeout. Tight set resulting in a net violation. And second serve, ramping it back up. Another net violation with a tight pass out of MICA. But the strategy here from Dylan Highshutter is definitely what I like seeing players do. Coming out of a timeout, first serve back there, just give something 80%, make it consistent, and then as you're at the line, start going aggressive and start ripping away. Dylan Highshutter missing that line there. Looks like he put a little bit extra side spin on it. It was lined up great, hooked out of bounds. Chase Hoyer back to the line for MICA. Let's see if we can get a few back here. Good 70% serve from Hoyer. Sets a little bit inside. Beautiful dig by Jose Soto. A nice little pancake to keep the ball alive. Tight set to Drew Grosvich. And absolutely terminal down the line. Just tagging that back line off the set from Jose Soto. Very nice job. A little bit of a scrappy point there from MICA. They need to string together one or two more of those to get themselves back into this game. Little extra pace coming from Chase. Another inside set to Ervil. Off the block. Scrappy play keeps it alive. Tempo back in the system. Middle run to Tanner Barnard. A nice deep shot out of the middle. That will bring Tanner back to serve as well. I do love seeing middles swing for those back lines because typically those wing defenders will be a little bit farther up and those back corners will be open if you can get them consistently. And another violation going underneath the net. Yeah. Tom Davidson talking to the down ref about what he saw, clarifying that if it is away from the point, going underneath is actually okay in these higher levels, as long as it does not, one, affect the play, or two, present an immediate risk to the health and safety of the other team. Nice set over to Drew Garish. Quick little tempo ball to the pin, and he basically carbon copies a kill that he had a few points ago. Tom subs out for the serving specialist, Fran Baza. A little bit of defensive help in this rotation as well, since the libero cannot be out there. Float serve going right at the libero, who has difficulty with it. Help set was a little tight. Handled well by Erbil. Tight inside set to Jalen gets blocked by the tandem of Garrett Anderson and Matt Adams. That brings Dylan Highshutter to the line. Oh, sorry, that was Clark Jocelyn that served. Inside set. Drew Garrich has woken up in this game. Unfortunate that he's rotating back now because a lot of the offensive presence early has been Drew Garish. Marcus Steele subbing out for number 17, Drew Althouse. This will give some extra presence over on the block. And Drew was also a setter here at Adrian College. So he will take over the responsibility of setting while he is rotating in the back row, making sure the MICA team has three offensive options for these three rotations. Urfil Patel back at the line for tempo. Gets it over the pin. Nice high block deflection. Unfortunately, the tempo defense couldn't quite get there to pick it up. Nice little in-system ball from Jalen Adams, number 18, to get that kill. And now he's back to serve. Float serve. And a little bit of miscommunication. I believe Urvil Patel, the passer that let that go, believed that he was a little bit deeper in serve receive. They also might still have been discussing which exact rotation that they were in. Clark Jocelyn, also part of that play. Floating the other seam. A little bit of a mishandle there by Mikey Wyants. Bailed out by the spare ball rolling onto the court. We will have a replay. Jalen Adams has been placing these serves really well and keeping Michigan tempo on the back foot. Carbon copy serve. Very similar result. Good D ball from Clark Jocelyn in the back right. That'll get for the kill for tempo and bring them within 2 of clinching this first set. Garrett Anderson coming back to serve. No serving specialists available for tempo as their roster is a little bit skinnier today. Float serve well out of bounds. That will bring Mikey Wyatt back in as they look for 2 more points to clinch the set. Mitch Hoffman serving for Micah. Let's see if he stays aggressive like he did his first time back in the line. Took a little bit off of it, had a nice little float serve. Good shot down the line by High Shedder, beautifully dug by Drew Ulrich. And a double contact called by Tempo, well, called on Tempo. Oh no, sorry, the point was given to Tempo, the double contact was on Micah. Game point serve for Matt Adams. Switches to a little more of a hybrid float serve into the top of the tape. Micah needs a minimum of 8 points here to keep the game alive. Marcus Steele with a straight float. Swung in between the middle of the block. Dug beautifully, but unfortunately the offensive connection from Micah just not quite there at the beginning of that game. Tempo takes set 1, 25-17. Fairly swingy game to start off. We will assume that coming into the second set, both teams are going to be discussing, get a little bit more on track with what needs to be done, find some weaknesses in the other teams, exploit them on serve receive, and the scores should be closer coming into the second game. We will take a short break here. Set 2 should start up here in about 2 minutes. So if you need to get a bathroom break, go ahead and do it now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to set 2 of MICA versus Tempo on day 1 here at the Sun and Smiles tournament at Adrian College. A beautiful event. I believe this is the 3rd year this event has been hosted. Marcus here will get first serve for MICA. Sticking with the straight float, this one working out off the hands of Irvil Patel back there for a first point for MICA, a strong start that we were hoping for after the very swinging set 1 that they had. In-system ball. And a net violation off of the in-system ball by Tanner Barnard. Was an in-system pass by Dylan Heischetter. Is the mic already broken? Or are you just looking at it? Beautiful swing by Dylan Heischetter. A nice deep angle shot to get Tempo on the board here in set 2. Matt Adams back to serve. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on mic is Parker Sines. Parker, his family is the one that is running this event. He also has started the Midwest MAC and also MICA volleyball clubs. He coaches at Siena Heights as well. Parker, what did you see in that first set?
Saw a team that looked like they had played a match earlier and trying to figure it together. Mm-hmm. Definitely a team. MICA definitely looks like this is the first time they played together.
Yep.
And so, yeah. Where I saw Temple, I saw a team excited to be in, excited to get a match going. Mm-hmm. But based off of the last couple points at the end, it felt like it was finally getting to a good spot where they're being competitive. And I see that this match is going to be a little bit more competitive now than it was when it first started.
Yeah, very swingy set starting off. Temple started off with that, 8-2 score lead in the first set. MICA closed to 7-10, and then from there, kind of got away from them. Were you a part of that huddle? What adjustments were MICA talking about making in this second set?
I think they're just trying to come together, just ease into it. They're ex-college players, all have played at pretty high levels. Mm-hmm. Number 3 just graduated is going to be graduating this May. Mm-hmm. So we're excited. He's excited about that, but I think they just calm down, get together, and they're going to come back. So they're just ease into it. A little bit of a rough start, they know, but they're getting ready to fix it.
Well said. And this event as a whole, this is the 3rd year, I believe, that the VLA has been part of the Sun and Smiles volleyball tournament. Do you kind of want to just talk about what this event means to you, how much you love seeing, VLA being incorporated with the coaching that your family does on some of the other courts, and what this weekend means?
Yeah, so it's Sun and Smiles is my sister that passed away a couple years ago. And she was handicapped and everything, and it's been part of our family for a long time. The fact that we've been able to show younger volleyball players and not like the top clubs or anything like that, lower level clubs, this high level volleyball has been really, really cool. This is the smallest we've done on the tournament side, but we wanted to keep it smaller this year versus in previous years of having a lot of teams. We wanted to keep it 3 or 4 teams. So we got 3 teams here playing, kind of preparing. All 3 teams are going to the VLA Cup. So it's been pretty cool to be able to get everyone in here and be able to actually host this. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of oohs and ahs today with plays, so we're excited to see that.
Yeah, I know that the 12s and 14s of the girls' teams that have been playing. They've been stopping by, watching a little bit, and are decently surprised by the fast-paced action that's happening on this court. And I know in past years, more events. This year, it's a little bit more similar to the Tier 1 or the Sectional Tier 2 events where you have the tri-match on both days. How do you think that either amplifies, hampers? How do you think the change is beneficial to, keeping it a little bit more small and intimate with the three teams?
Yeah, I think it just keeps us closer, keeps us ready. Instead of about playing, it'd be cool to play every single, all the teams all the time, different teams, but kind of like, hey, you got to battle out the next time. You know what they look like. You know what they're doing. So how can you prepare for the next match, and stuff. So a lot of, Micah's group is getting a lot of playing time before they get ready for the VLA Cup. Mm-hmm. So we're excited about that. So it's kind of commitment of just knowing your opponent. Yep. And we'll see some good plays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and while we've been discussing, this game is definitely off to a more expected start for VLA Caliber play. Passing is a little bit more in system. We're getting a little bit more consistent swing from the outside as Chase Hoyer has a beautiful back corner shot on the in-system ball. Do you think that this level will stay consistent? How do you think exhaustion will play? Will the teams continue to ramp up as each team makes adjustments? How do you see the rest of this match playing out?
You need to get Chase and Drew going. Mm-hmm. Chase Hoyer and Drew Garish, you need to get them going. They have the heaviest arms in the team. They have the highest jumps. Mm-hmm. You need to just rely on their arms. Don't worry about setting the middles right now. Rely on the pins. Yep. Let them just ride out. Let the block. Let the blocks. Like, you'll get the touches. You'll get the defending. The defense, as Coach Jose, number 14, will be able to get the defense. Mm-hmm. But you need to allow the arms of Chase and Drew to take over right now.
Yeah, with those last couple of swings, looks like Chase Hoyer is waking up in the second set. We saw Drew Garish start to wake up then in that first set as he got 3 or 4 kills down that line on the right side. And on the tempo team, the big swinger, Clark Jocelyn on the right side. Set hasn't always quite been there as the ball's been out of system, but he's been adjusting well. He's been playing smart. He's been hitting the spots that he's needed to. And Irvil Patel has been making smart moves on the outside as well. Who do you feel like is the biggest it factor on both teams? One player. Make or break.
I think it's gonna be Drew for Micah, and I gotta give it to, I'm gonna butcher his name. We're gonna try Irvil.
Yeah, Irvil Patel.
Irvil.
Yeah, Irvil.
I think he. I've seen him play with 630 and so I've seen him take over some matches, but hopefully he can take over here too.
Mm-hmm. And a nice little tip ball there by Clark Jocelyn, unable to be picked up by the middle playing defense. You do see that whenever the middle is back there playing defense, since the liberos have to be out for that half rotation, that oftentimes either the setter or the attacker will just put something short, making the middle play defense. And I would say it's a big momentum swing whenever the middle does get that ball up into the air. I know I go crazy whenever I see it. And you can probably see me go crazy for those kinds of moments later on whenever Midwest Max faces Tempo in our 5 p.m. game. But for now, Tanner Barnard with the serve, Chase Hoyer with a beautiful pass. In system, Drew, if there was ever any doubts before, absolutely awake as he goes back to the service line. Pipe swing by Chase Hoyer. The put back by Mitch Hoffman, dug beautifully by Matt Adams. Scrappy play. Jose pass to the free ball. Marcus Steele to the outside. A little slower tempo ball. Jalen Adams makes do and forces Clark Jocelyn into that double contact. Point Micah, as we are at a 1-point game. It looks like those adjustments Micah was talking about are paying dividends in this set. Good short serve. Beautiful touch by Jose Soto on that smartly played shot by Irvil Patel. Unfortunately, not enough, as it is just out of reach of Drew Garish over there playing back right defense. The quick serve almost paying dividends. Brief discussion with the up ref to slow down play a little bit as there is sweat on the court and as guys are getting ready into positions. We do like to keep the game a little bit faster paced, but, you have to allow time for people to walk. A beautiful defensive point happening now. Offense is just so close but no cigar. Have not been able to see a full swing until Jalen Adams off of the outside hand of Matt Adams. No relation. Point going over to Micah on a very defense-oriented, scrappy point. Jalen Adams now back to serve. Float serve coming. Taking out the middle back option on the offense. Smartly placed by Irville. Out of system swing into the tape. As the set is reaching closer and closer to its conclusion, you can feel the stress of the players starting to amp up a little bit. They're trying to keep things a little bit quicker. They're trying to be a little bit more creative, and it is forcing teammates into bad mistakes. I would like to see both the teams slow things down. Great swing by the middle on the right side by Mitch Hoffman. And a great swing, too, by Tempo and Irville Patel in the back row. Unfortunately, foot across the 10-foot line, causing a back row attack. Point Micah. Mitch Hoffman back to serve. Oh, beautiful. And I mean absolutely beautifully hard-driven float serve right at the libero. I know personally that is my least favorite serve to see. Honest, I probably would have done the same thing. Mikey Wyatt wanting that one back. I'm sure he will put a ball in system this time around. Ooh. Close, but no cigar for Mitch Hoffman on that second serve. A little bit higher, and the net comes into play. Could have let that ball trickle over a little bit. Garrett Anderson to serve. Nice float serve over to the outside. In system to the outside. Double block gets there. Tanner Barnard closes and terminates off the block with the help by Matt Adams. Point Tempo as they increase their lead to 3. Float likely over to those outsides again, trying to keep it away from the libero, Jose Soto. Center dump to Irville. Picked up beautifully. Jose is locked on to that top spin shot to the middle of the court. Coming down the line, Jose again with the dig. Unfortunately, the middle unable to react quick enough as he was still coming down off of the block. Point Tempo. Same serve, same rotation, same goal. Serving the 2 Micah outsides. Ball in system. And a nice little switch to side out there. Marcus Steele and Drew Garich switching responsibilities for that 1 point to give themselves an extra little option there on the front right side. Marcus Steele now back to serve. And they are going to want to stay in this rotation as much as possible. As Parker was saying, you have your 2 go-to guys, both front row right now. As a mishandled dig and second contact on the Tempo side leads to another Drew Garich kill. You have 2 absolute cannons on the pins now for Micah and Chase Hoyer and Drew Garich, with Big Tom and that massive block out of the middle standing at 6'10". This is the rotation you want. Beautiful pass by Irville, though. Low tight ball. Mishandled by the outside, or Drew Garich getting a little bit of a block on it. And another point here for Micah, bringing the lead down to 1. Nice pass by Ervil. Great swing. Blocked by Big Tom. With the putback from Tempo going out of bounds. If there was ever a chalkboard with a game plan, this is what it would look like for MICA. This is the rotation. You squeeze every single point you can out of this rotation. And a great service end. The great service run ended by a serve going out of bounds. Very nice competitive service from Marcus Steele. That one got away from him a little bit, but because of those serves, that is why Mike was able to claw those points back. Matt Adams, fully committed to the float now. Miscommunication on the seam ball between Jalen Adams and Jose Soto. They'll talk about seam responsibilities. Likely it was a seam left scenario, which should have been Jose's ball. As he switched side, we'll see if that stays the same. In-system pass by Jose Soto. Push to the opposite. Handed by Chase Hoyer. Little pipe ball miscommunication. Trying to get on the right side. Swing into the tape. Mikey Wyant not thrilled with his contact on that, but still gets a ball in system into the antenna by Heistetter. Chase Hoyer back of the line. Topspin. Decent contact. Great ball into the seam, but a beautiful pass by Ervil. Great dig by Marcus. That is a heads-up dig by Marcus to keep this play alive. MICA keeping the play alive with the opportunity to terminate. Drew Garrich with the help of Big Tom out of the middle, getting that terminal block, tying up this game at 21. Top spin to the libero. Pass was a little too tight. Tom Davidson saying, thank you very much. And giving him a nice little pat statter for that kill. By the thickness of a hair, that ball landing out of bounds there on the left side. The second that ball went up, I knew that was the toss Chase Hoyer was looking for, and he was about to unload on that serve. All of us working out beautifully for him. But unfortunately not so. Dylan Heistetter, back to serve. Passing system, single block, over-rotated. Trying to find that line, trying to find that outside hand of Ervil Patel. Coming up empty. Point Tempo, who on a 1-point lead. Heistetter to serve again. More pace on this one, handled beautifully by Jose Soto. Giving Drew his second chance on that swing. Blocked, recycled, like a ball. Nice little off-speed shot there by Jalen Adams to get that kill. Serving specialist Fran Baza coming in for Tom Davidson. Floater coming. Float to the libero. Ball in system. Beautiful dig by Marcus Steele on the outside. And an absolute put away on the single block out of the pipe connection with Chase Hoyer. That was a very good run by Tempo. Clark Jocelyn going over the block on that hard angle. I'm surprised I wasn't terminal there, but Marcus Steele making a beautiful dig and his teammates doing the rest there. First game point, Fran Baza. Float serve. To Seaman Libero and Ervil. Ervil with a single block. Fran diving, making the prediction. Almost works out beautifully. Ervil just putting a little bit too much on it. Fran couldn't handle it. Point Tempo, we are tied at 24s. Tanner Barnard, float serve to the seam of the outsides. A little bit of a missed contact. Free ball over. This is a time Tempo needs to take advantage. Blocked by Drew Gorsuch. Dig. Dump over. Mike in system. Drew. Dug by Matt Adams. High ball over to the outside for Ervil. Blocked by the combination of Drew Garish and Mitch Hoffman. I believe Mitch Hoffman doing most of the legwork on that one. Drew Garish rotating back. Second opportunity for game point for MICA. Both of those noted hitters that Parker had mentioned earlier are now rotated to the back row. Float serve coming up a little bit short. High into the tape with a little bit of dramatic flair with the bounce back. Clark Jocelyn now back to serve for Tempo. And it looks like Jalen Adams going underneath the net there. Discussing what the technical rule is. The dimer says it was a safety concern. That would be one way, but since he was out of bounds outside the antenna, he was under the tape outside the antenna, then which would go with a MICA point. There will be discussion for the next minute or so as both sides try to figure this out. You see both sides discussing, saying what their side of the story is, debating about who should be a point. After much discussion, we have decided on a replay point. See what adjustments can be made. Drew with a set to Marcus. Terminal kill on the outside. This beautiful connection of both of them being perfectly adequate setters gives a lot of flexibility to this MICA offense. If there's a rotation where someone gets stuck, you can just mix and match to see who has a better matchup and where you can get the extra offensive power. Third chance at set point for MICA. Jalen Adams. Float serve. Irvin with the hard cross. Dug by Jose Soto. Pipe connection. Jalen Adams into the single block of Garrett Anderson. And Garrett going terminal with it. We are now tied at 26s. Irvin Patel going back to serve. If you didn't just know from this match, Irvin Patel is just an extremely fun player to watch. Very technically sound. Is not the biggest guy, but definitely plays with the biggest heart. High off the block, dug beautifully by Irvin Patel, back in system. Tried to go with the jam, doesn't quite go as planned. He adjusts his swing. Single arm dig by Drew Garish. To the back row, D-ball connection of Clark Jocelyn. Tagging the back line for Tempo. First chance for Tempo to claim the second set. Top spin coming. Goes to Jalen Adams. Ball's tight. Can't be terminated by the Michigan side. But the handled contact from Mitch Hoffman goes out of bounds on the Tempo side. That is set to win for Michigan Tempo, 28-26. Going to set 3, Michigan Tempo have a 2-set lead. They will just need one more to clinch. MICA, a much better performance than set 1, not quite being able to get it done. Will need to go for the reverse sweep to get the match win and get a point. We'll have another 2-minute break, and we will come back with you soon. And we are just about ready for set 3 of MICA versus Tempo. Tempo coming out very strong in the first set. MICA trying to work on a response in the second set, going to extra points. But both sets have gone Tempo's way. They are one set away from claiming victory. MICA has a lot of work to do. Adjustments I'd like to see in this game. I would like to see middles getting a little bit more involved on offense. We have seen the pin hitters on both sides make kills happen, whether it's by rocket arms, whether it's by smart poke shots. We have seen them be extremely productive on the offensive side, especially in that set too. Middles are getting a little bit forgotten about. They're doing pretty good in the blocking game, but offensively, they're a little bit forgotten about. I would like to see at least one of these sides utilize those middles and try to pull attention away from their pin hitters for a little bit more of a balanced offense. If one team's able to do that, that team will be winning this set. Lineups have stayed pretty stagnant for both sides. Tempo having really no other options as they are rocking with 7. MICA, a little bit more flexibility. First point, kill for Chase off of the Tempo block. Point going to MICA. Marcus Steele back to serve. Sticking with the float. Hagar on the Tempo side extends the lead to 2. On both teams, there's definitely sides of the court that I would be avoiding. If I am MICA and I'm serving, I would say no serve goes to Ervil. Ervil has been on top of every single pass. Unless you're working him out of the offensive game, Ervil has picked up pretty much every single serve that has come his way. I would not serve anywhere near him. On the Tempo side, if I'm serving at MICA, I'm keeping the ball away from Jose. A couple of times it's worked out with some seam miscommunication, but overall, Jose has been giving the most consistent passes on the MICA side. Those are the 2 people these teams need to avoid while serving. Let's see if Ervil keeps that in mind as he is back to serve. Top spin. Directly to Jose. 3-point pass right into the middle. Down the line, dug beautifully by Wyatt. 3 ball back over. Middle. A little bit of a misconnection, but able to make his way over the net. To the right side of Clark. This is a spectacular rally coming. Lots of beautiful digs. Second attempt by Clark. Dug yet again. Big Tom with the set. Chase off speed, not quite making it over the tape. A well-fought and well-earned point for the Tempo side. I do want to give a shout-out to Wyatt. Been a little bit frustrated with himself a little bit earlier in the set, but that dig that came his way was absolutely massive. Ervil Patel, top spin. Beautifully tagging that back line. Ramping up the pun intended tempo of that serve. Getting the service ace. We will see if he kicks it up another notch on this serve. Top spin coming. Gave it just a little bit too much gusto. Got underneath it and launched it into the back wall. Nice and quick little service run for Tempo to get themselves pretty close to even Steven. Chase Hoyer now back to serve for the MICA side. That serve going to Ervil. Overpass straight to Jalen Adams. Gives a nice little poke over to that 10-foot tee over on the sideline. And terminating. Point MICA. Chase back to serve again. A lot of heat coming on that serve, but could not quite get the top spin. So ball rockets out of bounds for a Tempo point. Tanner Barnard now back to serve. Let's see who he decides to target with this float. Directly at the libero. Beautiful 3-point pass in system. Nice little deep corner shot. Gets the middle Tanner Barnard to make an error. Point going for MICA with Big Tom coming to the line. Free ball over to the MICA side. There is the middle connection we've been waiting for. Getting Mitch involved in this game is going to be key for MICA turning this match around. He has an absolute cannon, but the passes early on weren't always there to get him in system. They tried to work him on the right side. I would like to see him run a little bit more of a true middle. Good dig by Chase. I'm not exactly sure if he wanted to dig that ball. Goes back over the tape and terminated on the tempo side by, I believe, Clark Jocelyn. And now he's back to serve. Nice little float to Chase Hoyer. Handled beautifully. Line shot. Beautifully tagging the line. Mikey Wyatt convinced that it was too far. But a great call on the line by Midwest Maxo Mike Gold, confirming that ball was in. Drew Garish now going back to the service line. Float serve over to the seam of the libero and Irville. High shedder, long. Missed off the fingertips and launched out of bounds for a MICA point. Drew Garish has been float serving all day. I do want to shout out he has a wicked jump serve. But a beautifully placed float serve can also get the job done. Tagging that tee on the right side, right at the 10-foot line. A passing error by Mikey Wine results in the MICA point. Serve to Irville. 3-option pass. A potentially great rally ends up in a failed pick and roll on the tempo side. A nice shot by Highshutter off of the high hands, dug by Micah. Jalen Adams keeping it in play, and then tempo resulting in the error because of the pick and roll. A good push over to the outside and an absolute hammer by Highshutter on the outside. With where that pass was going, there are not a lot of setters that would be so bold as to make that full push, and even less that could get it the whole way out there to get the kill on that pin. Highshutter now back to serve. Jump serve. Tried to turn it into more of a float. Low pass in system. Mitch Hoffman has slowly been getting more and more terminal on that outside, and a good defensive touch tight at the net to keep the play alive. Misconnection by Garrett Anderson is just enough. The paintbrush kill into the campfire on the MICA side, resulting in the point for tempo. It's definitely not a point he'll put on his highlight reel, but in the stat book, a kill's a kill, a point's a point. He will take that just as much as a hard-driven ball to the deep corner. Marcus trying to get aggressive on that second contact. Missed it a little bit high off the hands and launched past the back line. Tempo point. Highshutter again continuing this run. A little bit more of a topspin, just out of bounds. If you're going to be missing your serve, out of bounds on the other side is a good place to go. Close enough to where they at least have to think of it. Sometimes you'll pull them in, sometimes it won't work out. Ideally, you serve it every time anyways. And a nice little float. Lucky Wyatt getting aggressive in serve receive, unable to handle that pass. A serve for Jalen Adams. This is really the first time we've seen in this match that Micah has had the tried and true grasp on the lead, if I remember correctly, as Jalen Adams serves into the net for a tempo point. Now at the line for tempo, Garrett Anderson. Deep float. Big reach by Chase Hoyer to keep that in play. A little bit of miscommunication. The center, Matt Adams, taking a rip, and a nice dig by Jalen Adams. High set by the libero. Drew Garrich making do, swinging for high hands, finding him, and Michigan Tempo being unable to keep that ball alive. Mitch Hoffman now back to serve. This high-risk, high-reward jump float that he has is very entertaining to speculate on. Ooh. He got all of it and then some. Mitch Hoffman serving just out of bounds. Tempo point. That will bring Matt Adams to the line for tempo. He started with a jump serve. Looks like he's going back to the jump serve. Pulled out of system. Good ball to the outside. And another one of those short shots from Chase Hoyer. Just not quite enough. Stopping at the top of the tape. I would like to see a change on that shot. I would like to see a nice high roll shot to a deep corner just to get out of the habit. Turning it into a little match of dodgeball there for a quick second as Drew Garrich flying out of the way of that astray jump serve for a MICA point. Float serve off of Mikey Wyant. An interesting serve-receive rotation for tempo. Float serve coming. Same side. Push to the outside again. Good push to the outside. Clark Jocelyn using that block on the MICA side off the hand of Drew Garrich for the kill. Urfil Patel now back in the line. Decent contact going just long. It looks like as this match has gone on, the tempo serves have gotten a little bit more inconsistent. Matt Adams keeping him in, but Irvo missing is a huge swing in momentum for the MICA side. It's good to have him back there and less of an offensive threat there on the pin, but that serve can get deadly once he gets comfortable. Tempo rally backs for that point. Tanner Barnard now back to serve. Running out of time in this set to try and claw back from this 4-point deficit. Float serve. Handled beautifully. A little bit low. Handled out of the middle. Scrap play. Free ball over to the tempo side out to the pin. Off the block. Kept alive. Scrap replay at the net. Trying to run some sort of offense with Drew Garrich. Beautifully dug there by the middle Tanner Barnard. Urvil Patel just trying to put something on it, getting the MICA team out of system. And Jalen Adams just finding the finger on the outside head of that block. A very nice rally, a hard-fought rally, and one that Tempo definitely wishes that they want back. They're running out of those chances in the set, and that was a big point. Tom Davidson, now back to serve. Passing system, going to the right side. High off the hands, almost caught back by Chase Hoyer, but not quite enough. That is a kill for Clark Jocelyn on that right side. Really being an effective swing over on that right side, aside from a couple of misses early, has been able to make do with just about anything swinging for the right side. That serve, no luck. MICA point. Drew Garrich back at the line. As I think I wanted to say earlier, but I never quite got to, Drew Garrich has quite the jump serve that I have seen gone for about 10 to 12 point runs at this VLA level. It is no joke. I'm a little bit surprised that he's jump floating. Maybe he's just a little bit rusty and wants to keep it safe for now. Missed swing out of the pipe by Chase Hoyer results in the tempo point there. High shedder. Now back to serve for tempo. Hybrid serve. Low pass. Ooh! And Drew forcing the middle as that ball was fairly close to the ground, getting it just high enough to where Mitch Hoffman could find his spot in the back corner, resulting in the kill and a MICA point. The growth from MICA from set 1 into set 3, finding their rhythm, finding unique and different ways to score, getting more and more guys involved. And I think I missed a substitution that happened. Looks like Drew Althouse is in the game instead of Marcus Steele, which would make sense as to why Drew Garwich is setting. Drew Althouse a little bit of a bigger block, a little bit of a more consistent swing over there on the right side, giving Marcus Steele a breather so he can come back in fresh for the latter parts of this game. Low serve right at the top of the net. Scrappy play at the net. Out of system ball, high to the pin. Chase Hoyer making do. Block ball getting the reset to the pipe connection. Looks like there was no touch there on the block out of the middle by Tanner Barnard. So that will result in a tempo point. Garrett Anderson with the serve. Pass by Chase Hoyer and the termination by Chase as well. Drew trusting his former college teammate and current MICA teammate. And here we have the service specialist, Fran Baza, coming in this time for Mitch Hoffman. Fran has put in some decent serves, has got a couple of runs going, I believe, in the second set, and almost made that beautiful dig diving into the middle of the court late in that match. Good floats over to the seam, knocks tempo out of system. Irville just finding their back line to keep the play alive. Chase with the late block. Make sure to punish tempo for being out of position. Drilled into the back corner of the court for the MICA point. Now that MICA has made the response and has come out emphatically saying no to the sweep as Fran Baza misses that serve, tempo is now going to try and look for adjustments. Need to get a little bit more consistent in the serve receive and ways to make sure they can keep getting their right side Clark Gosselin and Irvo Patel involved, as well as trying to activate the middles. Has a great run ending in a Drew Althouse swing on the right side. Gets the point for MICA. That's a feel-good moment. Hitting the kill, walking off, knowing that the last thing you did was a great corner-to-corner swing. A 2-2, if you will, for Drew Althouse. As Marcus Steele is back to serve. 2 points remaining to take the set. In-system pass, trying to get the middle involved. And just a little bit of a misconnection there. I think it was the right look. It looked like a good set. I think Tanner was just trying to get a little bit too gracious on that back line and pushed it out of bounds. Game point serve for MICA. Switching to the jump serve. And missing the game point serve. A couple of inside jokes on the team being said. Irville Patel now needs to lead his team on a 5-point serving run to give his team a chance. Ooh. And just missed that left sideline. Giving MICA their first set win of the day, their first set win of this match, and their first set of 3 to make this comeback a possibility. Tempo, still just looking for that third set and first match win. MICA trying to ride the momentum and complete the reverse sweep. We will be back in 2 minutes for set 4. Welcome to set 4 as High Shedder gets that first kill for Tempo to start off strong on the Tempo side. This, I think, is going to be the most entertaining set yet because we have MICA, who is now waking up after a slow start and knowing that they need to put things into gear to even take a set off of Tempo. You have Tempo now realizing that MICA will not go into that sweet good night without a little push. So as both teams adjust, we should see more and more firepower as we get later into this match. Chase Hoyer currently back to serve. Beautifully into the seam. 2 option pass. Can make 2 offensively. And a nice little miscontact going over the net, resulting in the kill for MICA. I'm not sure if that was on purpose or not, but it definitely worked out and looks beautiful on the score sheet. High toss. Nice heads-up play by Tanner Barner to keep it alive. Scrappy play to start. Clark Jocelyn down the line. Dug by Drew Gorsuch, resulting in a tight pass terminated by High Shedder on the right. And now High Shedder back to serve. A little miss of that hybrid, resulting in an actually complex serve that decently handled by Jose Soto. Oh, and Urvil Patel finding the tiniest hole in that block to put the ball away for Tempo. Hybrid serve coming once again from High Shedder. Right to Jose. A little bit of a tight pass. No block, which is surprising. On a decent swing by Jalen Adams. Free ball coming back from the MICA side. Jalen Adams again blocked by Clark Jocelyn. In system again. And Drew Garish just getting underneath that block of Tanner Barnard to get the kill for MICA. Tying the score for 3. Tom Davidson now back to serve with his lethal float. Mishandled by the libero, out of system. And High Shedder into the net, trying to get aggressive with that pass caught her eye. This is actually a serve that is more difficult than it looks. I know that whenever we have practices where Tom is serving at me, I barely ever get a good contact on it. Just from the contact point and how much it floats, it is extremely difficult to get a handle on it if you don't have the perfect angle. That point going to Tempo as a scrappy play results in Parker catching the ball. And I know Drew was probably thinking to run Parker over just to keep that ball alive. Parker not letting that happen, though. Tanner with a float serve into the seam. Mishandled pass. Drew getting aggressive, trying to do what he can with it. Swings into the net for a Tempo point. Attacking those seams is absolutely the right move for Tanner Barner. Let's see if he keeps with that pattern. Into the seam was check 1, but in the court was check 2. Unfortunately, that ball flying a little bit long for a MICA point. Drew Garish now to serve for MICA. Beautiful pass by High Shedder. Oh, and just too much room for Urvil Patel to tool the hands off the Marcus Steele block. You can see by that smile during his swing that he already knew the result of the point before he followed through with that contact. Floats over by Clark Jocelyn. In system. The Debo connection to Drew Garish terminating onto that back line on the Tempo side. MICA point. Jalen Adams to serve. Jump serve coming from Jalen Adams. Beautiful pass by Mikey Wyatt. And a big swing by Urvil Patel gets through the block on the MICA side. Urvil Patel now back to serve, which may serve as a blessing for the MICA side. Jump serve to the seam. Pass goes awry. Jalen Adams trying to set. Chase Hoyer with the handle. And a second contact dump by Matt Adams. With the NBA playoffs going currently, I'm sure that led to a little bit of inspiration on that play by Matt Adams. Absolutely dunking into the campfire on the MICA side. As Urvil Patel is back to serve yet again. And a missed contact on that wrist away serve, probably trying to go down that left sideline in terms of the camera. That right sideline for him just misses it on the outside of the hand, going straight into the antenna. Mitch Hoffman to float serve. Takes a little bit off and does the trick as they get a little bit out of system. Tom Davidson blocking it while standing. Free ball dug by Mitch Hoffman. Drew Garich just given way too much room to find the back corner and terminate on that swing from the D-ball. There needs to be a double block on Drew Garich, even if he's hitting a D-ball. He is just way too lethal from that position and has gotten more and more lethal as the match has gone on. A little bit of a paintbrush kill there from Dylan Heischetter. A nice pass and a nicely run offense leads to a kill right in the campfire area. That small area, middle of the court, right around the 10-foot line. That is oh so difficult to cover. Good hand pass by Chase Hoyer. And the Tom Davidson swing, splitting the uprights on the Tanner Barnard block on the tempo side, resulting in a kill for MICA. Marcus Steele to serve. Let's see if he goes back to the hybrid or if he's sticking with the true float. True float it is. Mikey Wyatt with the pass. And a beautiful termination off of the hands of Tom Davidson. Great swing by Dylan Heischetter. Point for tempo as Matt Adams goes back to serve. Float down the line. Mishandled, but kept alive in a beautiful sprint by Marcus Steele, but unfortunately, the free ball a little bit too aggressive off of Drew Garich. Matt Adams will get to serve again and is likely going for the same target. Yes, he does, and he decides to go deep this time. Another astray pass. I will say, off of these two passes that weren't quite hitting the mark, Marcus has done a beautiful job to at least give his team a chance. The first one, just keeping the ball in play. And the second one, serving up a pretty hittable ball as he is sprinting from the net. And his hard work, I'll say, pays off as that serve goes into the net. That miss serve, I'm giving to Marcus Steele for the credit as he earned that point for the MICA side. Jump serve coming from Chase Hoyer. A good 70%er. Pretty easily handled by Mikey Wyatt for libero, and a great swing on the right side by Heischetter. I will say, typically in those kinds of rotations, when you have the opposite hitter, in this case, Clark Jocelyn, and the outside hitter, Dylan Heischetter, hitting on opposite sides from where they normally would, typically there's a point or two adjustment period just in that rotation alone. These guys have been very consistent hitting on both sides. Clark Jocelyn has gotten kills on the outside. Heischetter has gotten kills on that right side, even though they are playing the inverse positions. Good serve by Tom Davidson. Misconnection out of the middle. Dug by Tom Davidson. Good swing. Oh! Good swing by Jalen Adams. Blocked on the tempo side by the combination of, I believe, Matt Adams and Tanner Barnard. Almost picked up by Tom Davidson. Extremely difficult to pick up those blocks blocked straight down right next to the net. Tom Davidson almost doing the impossible for any defensive player and keeping that ball alive. Unfortunately, not quite working out. True Garage, living by life's motto, swing hard and good things will happen. Set gone awry. True Garage just saying, forget this. I'm hitting the ball as hard as I can. Into the top of the tape, skits over, lands on the tempo side for a point. Passes his 10-foot line, off of the MICA block, shared between Marcus Steele and Mitch Hoffman, for the terminal kill by Urvil Patel on the outside, tempo point. 15-12 tempo lead. Clark Jocelyn with the serve. Oh! Great pass, beautifully run in system, going from Chase Hoyer to Marcus Steele. Just a tiny bit of a misconnection, getting underneath the arm of Mitch Hoffman, forcing him out of bounds. We're about halfway through the set. This becomes an extremely crucial point for Micah to side out on. And Marcus Steele trying to get aggressive, dump into the top of the tape for another tempo point, extending the lead to 5. And an appropriate timeout for the Micah side to take a breath, reset, and rally to come back. It definitely looks like tempo is answering the call of this fourth set after Micah kicked it up a notch in that third set. The passing from libero, Mikey Wyatt, is getting more and more consistent as this fourth set goes on. Urvil Patel is finding kills out of nowhere on that outside. Jocelyn and Heistetter are both contributing on each one of the pins. Middles can still get a little bit more active, but they have been very active in the block game in keeping the Micah side not necessarily stopped, but definitely slowed down enough to keep the ball alive, get a rally going, and send it out to one of their pins. Clark Jocelyn again back to serve. Float serve coming. Cross court to Jalen Adams. Off the outside arm. Drew Garwich with a great chase down as Mitch Hoffman swings into the tape, trying to get aggressive with that beautiful send off of the chase down. Great pass and system. A good in-system play by Micah does not bear fruit as the big block by Urvil Patel blocks the ball right off of Jalen Adams' shoulder and gets the point for tempo. Another cross-court serve. Jalen Adams adjusts decently from the outside that they've been going. The hard swing from Chase Hoyer finds the block on the tempo side from Garrett Anderson. But because of the power, Garrett Anderson not quite able to handle it and blocks out of bounds. Micah point. Jalen Adams now back to serve, which means Chase Hoyer is now back on the front row to wreak havoc. Close serve decided to get played. Played it safe by the libero. 4 contacts by tempo. Not quite going to work as your limit is 3. Another Micah point. One point at a time. 1 point at a time. That's all Micah can think about right now. And all tempo can think about is just side out in 1 or side out in 2. And there is that middle connection that has been the missing piece for this tempo offense. I've been waiting for Garrett Anderson to get a little bit more involved, and he did exactly what he needed to do on that point to get the side out and the point on tempo side. Urvil Patel now back to serve. Into the top of the tape. A good aggressive serve at this point of the game is perfectly fine on the tempo side. You want to keep that pressure on. It is up to Micah to handle the serve and also keep the serve while they have someone on the back line. Fred Baza now coming in as a serving specialist. Trying to get a point back, trying to get 2 points back. Doing what he can, serving to the bottom of the tape. It is a side-out game for Tempo as they keep the pressure on. It is a scrap for every ball in play for MICA. Kind of mentality as the stuff block from the combination of Highshatter and Barnard gets Marcus Steele on that right side, bringing the Michigan Tempo 3 points away from taking this match, and a big VLA point for their campaign. Garrett Anderson with the float serve to the seam of the outsides. Push to the outside for Chase Hoyer. Straight down. A very dangerous place to set up offense. Does not result in the dig for Michigan Tempo as MICA sides out there. Ten-foot line pass by Urvo Patel. And a scrappy point leads to a little bit of miscommunication on responsibilities on the MICA side, giving the point to Tempo. If they cannot rally back in a set, they're going to be thinking about points like that. How many of those silly points with missed responsibilities and us not being focused is the reason why this game got so far out of hand? As a hitting error comes from Drew Gossage, swinging into the antenna on the outside. We are at match point for Michigan Tempo. They have 8 chances to put this match away. And a big jump serve coming from Matt Adams, the setter from Tempo. In system, cute little roll shot picked up by Jose Soto. Marcus trying to keep the ball alive. Free ball over to Tempo to terminate. Play slows down. Good dig by Marcus Steele. Just trying to do something with it. And the basketball hoop finally coming into play on the final point of the match as Michigan Tempo wins 25-16 in the fourth set, wins 3-1 in the match, and will take a VLA point, which will help their seeding going in to the VLA Cup. MICA finishes their day 0-2, getting a decent set win against Michigan Tempo, but will be able to come back tomorrow against both Midwest MAC and Michigan Tempo, looking for revenge, looking to improve, and getting whatever points they can to help their seeding going in to the VLA Cup as well. In about 40 minutes will be the start of Midwest MAC versus Michigan Tempo, our final match of the day. You'll be able to see yours truly, Noah Hanahan, at Libero, and a very big MAC roster. A very fun MAC roster. Thank you for tuning in. We will get warm-ups underway for the for the Midwest MAC side, and we will see you for the next match at 5 p.m. Thank you for tuning in.